Benjamin Sesko is staying at RB Leipzig. Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to center on the big breaking news that's been buzzing all day in regards to RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko, who of course has had a lot of speculation surrounding where his future in football may lie this summer. Well, it seems he has put all speculation to bed, at least for the foreseeable future, after today it's been confirmed by the likes of David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano that the 21-year-old Slovenian striker is staying at RB Leipzig, well, for at least another year or two, it seems. We're going to be talking more about this big breaking news. We're going to be talking about more about Sesko. We're going to be talking more about where that leaves the likes of Arsenal now, who are obviously heavily linked with signing the centre-forward. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in regards to this major breaking news story down below. I'm sure it'll make for interesting and great reading no matter what it is. But without further ado, let's go on with the video. Let's talk Benjamin Sesko. Let's talk RB Leipzig. Let's talk Arsenal and everything else in between. So, for those of you who've been living under a rock, the story is that Benjamin Sesko has been tearing it up no matter where he's been. He's made the Red Bull trip as what tends to happen to most Red Bull players, from Salzburg to Leipzig, and he's been tearing it up this past season in his debut season in the Bundesliga with RB Leipzig. So much so, he has got 31 appearances, 14 goals and 2 assists in his debut season in the Bundesliga. Overall, he's made 42 appearances, scored 18 goals and assisted twice. He's done pretty well. He's been very consistent. He's actually made a real big name for himself out there in Germany. And of course, when you do that kind of thing, you gain notoriety, and then the speculation starts to mount over where your future may lie. And of course, with it being Leipzig, it's a bit of a stepping stone club. So basically, you're given the platform to perform. You're then given the opportunity to go to, with all due respect to Leipzig, of course, a bigger club. And that is exactly what the projection for Sesko was right now. But it hasn't quite worked out that way. Despite interest from the likes of Arsenal and Manchester United, and I think Chelsea are also involved somewhere along the way as well. It seems that the 21-year-old has decided to stay at RB Leipzig for at least the foreseeable future. David Ornstein tweeted today that Benjamin Sesko is to stay at RB Leipzig on a new and improved contract, expected to be announced on Wednesday, subject to board approval. Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United among suitors, but RB Leipzig set to keep 21-year-old Slovenian striker by The Athletic and, of course, Fabrizio Romano. Romano tweeted just, well, I'll go with his latest tweet that happened at the time of recording moments ago. Benjamin Sesko will sign his new deal at RB Leipzig until June 2029 on Wednesday. In the next 24 hours, there will be a gentleman's agreement for Sesko to exit in 2025 or 2026. Meanwhile, he's staying as star of the project, and then goes on to, of course, link in his overall article on this developing news story. It's an interesting development, this. It's interesting as well because I think a few younger stars are starting to realise that maybe jumping ship too young to a bigger club may not be best for their development. And that's the only thing I can think of as to why Sesko's obviously not jumping ship or jumping at the first opportunity to leave. His development. It's got to be his development. I think at Leipzig, he's given a platform to perform there. He's given a platform to be the star of the show over there in Germany. And I just think that, you know, to say that this was his first debut season, he just wants to, you know, master his craft a little bit. He just wants to gain that experience. He just wants to kind of see where things lie in a year or two's time. He has the gentleman's agreement in place, so should obviously Leipzig honour that agreement, a year or two down the line, he'll then assess his options. Maybe a bigger club, with all due respect to Arsenal, of course, and United and Chelsea may come in for him. Maybe a better suited club for him, if that is obviously his preference. Could obviously be on the table by that point. If he continues his development, if he continues his growth, if he continues his evolution in the game, there's no reason to suggest that obviously those suitors won't be there in a year or two's time, followed by maybe more interest from other clubs as well. He certainly seemingly won't have a lack of options available to him. But at least for now, it lays to rest. It lays to rest the speculation surrounding the 21-year-old's immediate future. Whereas, you know, in a year or two's time, say, we could obviously revisit this story and we can see obviously where the chips lie in about a year or two. Has he continued his development? Has he had another good season? You know, stuff like that are obviously obviously those clubs still available to him? Have they been joined by more clubs? You know, stuff of that nature. And I'm certain he's obviously happy to have laid this to rest as well. Obviously, he's going to be starting his European Championship campaign this week, so he's obviously going to be happy about that. He's laid his future to rest for the immediate future. There won't be constant speculation surrounding him. He can just focus on his football, which is obviously going to be best for him. But it is a bit of a blow for Arsenal. It's not the end of the world, but it is a bit of a blow. This is a striker that possesses a lot of pace, a lot of power, a lot of movement, and decent movement at that. A bit of a natural sort of instinctive movement for what is a relatively young striker. And he's pretty sharp and consistent in front of goal, as stated in obviously how well he has done in his debut season for RB Leipzig. Killed it over in Austria as well with Salzburg. Obviously gained notoriety over there. Made his move across the RB Leipzig channel, so to speak, with Leipzig. So it's not exactly like this guy is lacking potential, promise. There's anything bad on the club side of things that ruined this deal. This is simply seemingly a preference thing. This is seemingly a development thing. This is seemingly an important thing for Sesko, who at 21 years of age, let's face it, has got time on his side. And when you look at Arsenal as the squad that they are right now, he may not be the main guy. He may not be the main guy for another year and a half, another year or two. When you consider that they have Kai Havertz, who performed a lot better than what any of us were probably expecting him to, and then you've got behind him Gabriel Jesus. I know people may laugh when they say Gabriel Jesus, but there is still something with that striker, to that striker, and obviously he does fit in with the way that Arteta tries to play his game. You know, he may not have been the main guy there at Arsenal, and it might have, you may argue it might have harmed his development rather than be at somewhere that is safe, secure, and obviously is going to be putting their, not like hopes on him all, but sort of putting a lot of trust in him, shall we say, to lead the line, to be the main guy up front, to obviously continue his development over there in Germany. So there's a lot there, but Arsenal certainly do need to beef up their attacking options. That's one area I think we've all said all season and all along. It's a place that they need to beef up. Okay, Kai Havertz has done better than what a lot of people expected, but, you know, Gabriel Jesus hasn't, I don't think he's quite hit the heights of what was maybe promised or expected of him. The drop-off from there is like Eddie Nketiah. A lot of speculation surrounding him, whether he's going to be leaving Arsenal or not. Obviously, time will tell on that. But obviously by that logic, there is certainly room for improvement there, room for beefing up. And of course, if Arsenal want to start competing on multiple fronts, not just competing and challenging for the Premier League, but also, of course, challenging for the likes of the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, competing on multiple fronts with multiple chances of silverware, they're going to need to beef up these big areas. You can maybe look at fullbacks as another potential option. You can maybe look at the midfield. Maybe that could be improved upon a little bit in one or two, well, one maybe area alongside Declan Rice potentially. Right wing, maybe. Left wing may need a bit of balance as well. There are certain areas that you can maybe nitpick and say, we could find improvements here. We could find some competition there for our main players. But striker is the main area. Striker, I believe, is the main area where they can A, improve upon it, and B, get some competition in there. Kai Havertz, like I say, has done exceptionally well for someone that wasn't expected to do as well as what he did, but he's not the be-all and end-all. There is maybe a limit to him in certain situations. Maybe there will be certain times in certain games where a plan B is needed, or maybe he will be the plan B, and a plan A is going to be a new striker to come in this summer transfer window. Who may that be? I think Arsenal will still turn their attention elsewhere. Remember, it's all good saying that in a year or two's time, Sesko may leave RB Leipzig, but at the same time, in a year or two's time, Arsenal may have found a new striker. Things can move on very quickly in football. Whilst it is a gamble to obviously bring in a 21-year-old striker to the Premier League and have him try and hit the ground running straight away, or even try to bleed into the side gradually, it's also a risk for the 21-year-old to stay put. Because by then, teams can move on. They can find someone else. They can find someone from their academy. They can find someone else from another team. It's all a risk and it's all a gamble. It's all a risk and it's all a gamble. But it does obviously now seem that Sesko has rejected the likes of Arsenal, the advances from Arsenal and Manchester United in pursuit of obviously staying at RB Leipzig for at least another season or two. Arsenal now turn their attention. The immediate aftermath of this saw them be linked with Joshua Zirkzee of Bologna, 23 years old. I don't know a massive deal about him, but I know he had a decent season in Serie A. I think he got like 11 goals in Serie A this season in 34 appearances. So it's not terrible. It's not the best. It's not the worst. But for 23 years of age, of course, it does kind of fit the age range that Arsenal are looking at. It does kind of fit the potential side of things that Arsenal are looking at. The only thing I think with Arsenal is that they may face competition from elsewhere. I think the likes of AC Milan are circulating this deal and maybe in a bit of a stronger position than Arsenal in order to make something happen. But the other one that a lot of people have been looking at, and there's obviously been a lot of speculation over, is that of Alexander Isak of Newcastle. Now, this one has obviously been buzzing around a lot. This one has obviously been heavily talked about. There's been a lot of talk about Newcastle maybe needing to balance FFP and PSR and all financial things like that. So they may need to make a massive sale this summer. And of course, their two biggest assets are seemingly Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes. Now, Arsenal have been linked with both of them names. But there's a lot of talk that maybe Newcastle will have to give one up, but keep the other. If, obviously, FFP is to still be a thing after what Man City are trying to do to it. But the Isak one could be very interesting. Because the Isak one was obviously red hot for a while in terms of speculation, in terms of gathering momentum, in terms of obviously Arsenal's interest. And then it died off a little bit. Seemingly they turned their attention to the likes of Sesko. It could now be back on. It could obviously come full circle and it could be they are back in for Isak. I like Isak a lot. I think he's an ice-cold finisher. I think he's pacey. I think he's taken very well to the Premier League, and I think he took better to the Premier League than what I was originally anticipating. I had no problem that he'd score goals. I just thought the physicality aspect may just be a bit too much for him. He's taken to the Premier League really well. Prem experience, but of course he's going to be financially a lot more than what Sesko would have been. It's going to be interesting to see how this one develops. It's going to be interesting to see how the Arsenal search for a striker overall develops. But obviously, keep your eye on Alexander Isak. Keep your eye on Newcastle's FFP situation and obviously the financials at play there. Xerxes also one, like I say, to keep your eye on. Maybe Arsenal may get... may obviously decide to try and hijack the deal if it is close to being... AC Milan's for the taking. But I want to know, does anyone have any other suggestions? Does anyone have any other potential answers to this? There's also the guy whose name escapes me from Sporting. He's got a really funny name. It's I think he's Greek. He was in like the Championship the season before. Girikash. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, and I hope I've got the right guy. Guy from Sporting Lisbon had a very, very good season with Sporting under Ruben Amorim. I think I've said his name right. I know he's obviously been heavily linked with Arsenal. Could obviously that link come back again to the Gunners? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Arsenal. Obviously, there's summer transfer window. But one thing we do know is that it seems that Benjamin Sesko has laid his future to rest for at least the foreseeable future after he pens a new deal. Waiting official confirmation of that, waiting for an official announcement on it, but it does seem like he's going to be penning a new deal that will see him stay at RB Leipzig till at least 2029, but of course much sooner than that. A gentleman's agreement for either the year 2025 or 2026 could see Sesko move earlier. It's going to be very interesting to see the career path of one Benjamin Sesko, but it does seem like he has laid his immediate future and all speculation to rest in regards to where his footballing future may lie. Those are the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this news story? Is it the right move for Sesko? Is it the wrong move for Sesko? Where do you see Arsenal turning their attention now in terms of maybe searching for a new striker? Will it be a Xerxes, an Alexander Isak, or someone else waiting in the wings like the lad's name from Sporting, who I'm not even going to try and pronounce and butcher again, but I'd love to know what you guys think and feel on this, whether it's all aspects of what I've talked about here. I'm sure it'll make it interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you again very, very soon.